I've spent over 100 hours in Marathon. I hit level 100 and I've got a lot to say. Some of it incredibly exciting, some of it pretty disappointing, and some of it I don't think you're ready for. I'm a Marathon creator. I tested this game at Bungie HQ, but I have not gotten paid a single dollar since October 2024. This is my raw and honest experience. First off, let's start with the best parts of Marathon. The gunplay is phenomenal. It's snappy, it's responsive, it's got that Bungie DNA all over it. But honestly, the recoil, it just doesn't seem right. Something is amiss with the recoil. It seems a bit random, and that is probably one of my biggest gripes when it comes to the gunplay in the game. That being said, the bullet range was pretty darn good, except for a couple of sniper shots that I thought should have hit and didn't. But again, it's an alpha. My favorite combo was 100% the triple tap and the shotgun, the double barrel shotgun. These two were beautiful together, but I will say a little bit overpowered when you were playing Void with Invis. I could honestly spend another 100 hours just running fights with a sandbox, but that's where things kind of started to shift, in my opinion. The maps, they were way too small, and not just that, I feel like the focus on PvP was overwhelming. It started to feel more like a battle royale. There was no breathing room for exploration when you wanted to kind of traverse the map and do your own thing. And there were times, of course, where there were no fights being had in a run, but there were also times where you got third-partied like 3 times during one match. It felt like the game was afraid to let you just explore, and that brings me to something I really missed. Back in October, during our playtest at the studio, we saw something incredible. It was a mechanic that I loved the most. It was oxygen rooms, and you'd basically go into this room and try to solve a puzzle, but the air in there was not breathable, so you'd need to bring an oxygen tank, and with that, you'd have to complete this puzzle before your oxygen tank was empty. And we got into a situation where that was the case. Our oxygen tanks ran out, we couldn't figure out the puzzle, and there was a team right outside the door waiting to attack or waiting for their chance to get in. We all died, and they got all of our loot. So again, where was that? There is a misconception that the puzzles of this game only happen on the 4th map, which is the Marathon ship. And that's not the case. That is a misconception that needs to be shut down right now. My question is, though, again, why were they removed from this test? I think this is one of the things that makes this game special when compared to other extraction shooters, and it wasn't there. These weren't just filler. They were flavor. They gave the game something different. They gave the world meaning. And speaking of meaning, let's talk about the loot. Loot didn't feel good. The grays were completely pointless. Ice creams and all of that, rations that we never picked up whatsoever. They were just kind of there. And of course it is an alpha and they will probably be used for other things, but I just didn't feel the substance in the loot. I wanted more out of the loot that I picked up. When I go and play a game like Arena Breakout Infinite, I find this red item, I am just amazed and I am ready to get out with that item, and I feel scared to lose that item. That is kind of what's missing here. Compare that to Arc Raiders. In Arc Raiders, loot almost mattered too much, but in Marathon, it felt like I was looting just for the sake of looting, maybe looking for that blue or purple shield. You need a middle ground. Give us loot that we care about, but don't make it the entire identity. And please, no more upgrades tied to item discovery. I think that is just so rough, and you gotta give players a reason to go in and die. If someone goes into a match and then dies, when they come out, they get a little bit of experience, and when they level up, they get an upgrade. I think that is a much more rewarding experience than dying with the loot that you wanted to use to upgrade, but now you can't upgrade your stash because you died, and you keep dying, and then, oh my word, it's just, yeah, I don't know. Here's one of the big things though for me. Originally, the runners were fully customizable. You saw this in the very first trailer, and then it changed to heroes, I guess you could say, predefined characters with abilities, right? I'm not a fan of this whatsoever, but here's my pitch, and this is probably not going to happen, but we're gonna give it a shot. What if Void and Locust turn into vendors? So you don't lose the whole personality of Void and Locust and all the characters, but they turn into vendors or traders, and these traders you can then go to and get quests from, and maybe level them up to a certain point where you can unlock an equipment from them, like an invis or the thrust from locusts, things like that. I mean, it's a way to keep them in the game, but then give us those customizable characters we saw in that first trailer. Let's move on now to the map events. They were fine. Yeah, I mean, they weren't bad, but they didn't have the Bungie magic. And these two words are said so often. The Bungie magic. There was no puzzles, no dynamic variations. Just press the button and get the thing. That's not Bungie at all. Imagine if every time you dropped in, you had to solve a new puzzle. One of 20, let's say, rotating scenarios. Think Destiny mechanics, but grounded in this darker world. That's what I'm hoping for in the beta. That's what I'm hoping changes when we get that beta announcement. It is a far-fetched idea, but I truly hope that we see changes like this. This was a focused alpha, and I truly believe they were testing specific systems, not honestly the full picture, but how much can they really change before launch? Yes, this build that we played on was 2 months old. I 100% understand that. I also understand that they have 5 months until launch to release this game, but is that enough time? Joe Ziegler, in an interview I had with him, said that there is enough time. I was the one that asked him the question, is this enough time for you guys? And he said this: what you think takes a lot of time does not take a lot of time. What actually takes a lot of time is what we've done already, building the foundation. As a person who is not a dev and will never be a dev, okay, I will take that explanation and run with it into the beta. But I'm a little nervous still and a little bit hesitant to fully see the vision there. And again, this is something we'll see when the beta comes out, whenever that is. No announcement has been had for the beta just yet. This Friday, we have the Marathon Q&A, and they're going to come on stream and talk about what was said in the alpha and what their thoughts are, and maybe delay the game. Do you guys think they're going to delay the game? I'm curious. Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm not sure. I truly know nothing. I have not been involved in any of the conversations. There has not been any communication with us that you guys don't know, and so I'm in the dark as well, and I'm a little interested to see what happens on Friday. Are they going to quell a lot of our concerns, or will it just be one of those things that ends up being PR talk and we get kind of pulled around? I don't want that to happen. I am rooting for Bungie here more than you understand. But you know what'd be really cool? I was thinking about this. Arc Raiders, right? Arc Raiders had so many good things. What if Arc Raiders and Marathon had a baby? You got Arc Raiders world building and Arc Raiders AI paired with Marathon's gunplay and Destiny raid mechanic type puzzle stuff. I mean, goodness me, that would be insane. I'm gonna be honest though, I miss this game dearly. I miss Marathon so much, but right now it just feels like a foundation and not necessarily a finished product. I'm giving it the pass because it's alpha, and when the beta hits, I've got a checklist. And honestly, Bungie, I'm rooting for you. I want this to be the greatest FPS of our time. That is truthfully what I want. But please don't waste what could be that special FPS. Marathon is a crazy beautiful world. Lore is so magnificent, and people deserve to see that lore come alive. We've been trying to fill the Marathon void over on my stream at twitch.tv/active with 2 E's. It'll be on screen and down in the description below. And we haven't filled that void just yet. Do you have a game that you're playing right now that you could help me figure out that I want to play? Put it down in the comment section below. I want to know what games are out there that can fill this Marathon void, because right now there is nothing. Nothing at all. And I'm going crazy here, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, let me know in the comments as well your Marathon Alpha experience, if you got to play, or even as a viewer, what did you think of the game? We'll see you in the next video. God bless.